Hello and welcome to News Today on Joy News. Coming up, family of late Ebuako North MP Joseph Boachidankwa threatens to demonstrate over what they say is conflicting reports from the police on the actual incidents leading to the death of the Member of Parliament. More pressure on government as graduate teachers gear up for nationwide protest over unpaid salaries just hours after a similar threat by the coalition of concerned teachers. I will bring you an update on that accident in Kintampo that claimed some 53 lives and left several others injured. We have details including business, sports, entertainment, and international updates all coming up in the next hour here on News Today. My name is Kwabena Chenchen Hineboating. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today to our very first story this afternoon. And 53 people died on Wednesday when a Metromass bus and a truck rammed into each other in a fatal accident at Kintampo in the Bonohafo region. That's Wednesday evening. 23 others have sustained severe injuries and are receiving treatment at the Kintampo Government Hospital, according to information we're getting from the police. Now, among the deceased is a 3-year-old child. The accident happened around 10 p.m. when the Metromass bus had a head-on collision with a truck that was carrying tomatoes. Now, the truck was believed to be traveling from Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, heading to Greater Accra region. Now, the 3 out of 4 people on board the truck perished in the gory accident immediately. The survivor has been identified only as Al Hassan. But the Kintampo police has been speaking to Joy News' Beatrice Edu on the incident. We do apologize for that. We were unable to bring you that particular sound bite. But let's now go on to the phone lines and speak to correspondent Anas Sabit, who is at the Kintampo Government Hospital and is joining me on phone now with an update on the situation there. Anas, good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us. So what's the situation at the hospital this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Chechen. But let me correct this. I'm currently at the Holy Family Hospital in Ashaiman, where some of the victims who have been seriously injured have been transferred for further treatment. So 6 of them are currently here at the Holy Family Hospital with 2 in very critical condition. I communicated with the medical director of the hospital, and he has confirmed that one of the 2 in critical condition needs to be transferred to the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi because his condition is quite critical and they cannot be taken care of here. I've had the opportunity to speak with one of them who was able to narrate to me how the whole accident happened.
How does he say this whole thing panned out in the first place?
Well, from his message, they were on the bus when they heard some sound. So they alerted the driver that something wrong was with the bus. The driver stood for some few minutes and then he came back and told them everything is okay. So when the car moved within some few meters, this particular unfortunate accident happened. The driver failed, his brakes failed him, and they had to just collide head-on with an upcoming truck, which is also traveling down south with tomatoes on board. We can confirm that about 68 lives have been lost on this particular accident, with a couple of others being transferred from Kintampo to Ashaiman, and then some have been moved to Kumasi, as the medical director at the Holy Family Hospital confirmed. The hospital is full, so they cannot accommodate more patients. So they've been transferring some from Kintampo to Kumasi as well as the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
Anas, are there any more updates, possibly from the police? Have you by any chance gotten in touch with them? And what more have they been saying about this incident? What have probably their investigations uncovered so far?
Well, the police, honestly, Kintampo police as well as the Bonohafo Regional Police Commander have all been very busy all day. So all our attempts to get them is proving our future. But from the ground, we can only say that the bus, which is the MMT bus, have been overloaded. The bus is supposed to take 56 passengers. But unfortunately, the bus was carrying over 80 passengers, and I think this is what sources on the bus as well as sources on the ground have been telling us. The police have been unavailable to tell us what they were able to diagnose on this particular issue.
Okay, so now let me ask about this other gentleman we were told was on the other truck that was also involved in this accident. You were told there was one survivor. Do we know his whereabouts?
Yeah, he is at the Kintampo government hospital. At the time, we cross-checked the last time we checked. There were 5 on board of that particular truck. 4 of them have already perished, and the only survivor was responding to treatment at the Kintampo government hospital.
Anas Sabit, many thanks for that particular update, and that was our correspondent in the Bunafo region. Anas Sabit bringing us updates on that particular gory accident over there in Kintampo. But away from that, let's do some more stories. Now this time around, let's channel our attention to security. And the Ashaiman police has begun investigations into a case in which suspected armed robbers stabbed a man and kidnapped his wife and children. Correspondent Bella Ave, who is with affiliate station Adom FM, is on the beat and joins us over the phone lines now with a lot more. So, Bella, tell us really a bit more about this story. What happened? What have the police been telling you?
Well, we had an information earlier this morning that a young man at about 40-year-old had been caught at the throat with a knife, almost at the verge of death, just opposite the Ashaiman 31st December Primary School near the Ashaiman main lorry station by some robbers. According to witnesses, the victim's wife and child was kidnapped right after the incident. Residents around the Ashaiman lorry station claimed they heard a shout from the victim's wife calling for help around 4:30 a.m. this day. Police personnel at the Ashaiman district picked the victim at about 6:30 a.m. to the emergency unit of the Tema General Hospital. When we contacted Ashaiman district police, we were informed that police proceeded to the scene and found victim in a pool of blood with a deep, fresh cut in the throat. Victim, they said, was rushed to Tema General Hospital for medical attention, where he was admitted at the hospital theater for emergency operation. When we asked about the whereabouts of the said wife and child of the victim, the only answer we had was investigation is still ongoing.
But let me finally ask this. Do we know how this person who has been admitted at the hospital, do we know how he or she is faring?
Sincerely, what I said earlier on was the information that we had from
the police.
Yes.
Okay, right. Belave, many thanks for that update, and that was Belave of our sister station Adom FM bringing us that report from Ashaiman, where we are told that one gentleman his throat has actually been slit, and his wife and kids been kidnapped. We'll be bringing you a lot more on that as and when we do have it. But still on security, and a middle-aged man has been arrested for breaking into a private vehicle in an attempt to steal its content at Kanda this morning. The man, who is currently in the grips of the Nima police, broke the glass to the back seat and made his way into the vehicle when the owner chanced on him and blew an alarm for his arrest. Join his intern, Daniel Adapo, witnessed the incident and brought us this account.
When you know the terrains of Nima police station well, and you go behind it a little bit, you're going to see Collins Hotel. Now, on that lane, people don't pass frequently early that morning, but from 10, 11, or 12 that we see people patronize that route. So what happened was that place was a little bit quiet, and this man's car was in front of his shop. He's into this CCTV camera stuff and stuff that. So it was in front of his shop. So I think he parked the car there and just went it. From a distance, he saw that the lights were blinking because he knew some of his security guards were around, so that's okay. So his lights were blinking. Then he said, no, let me get to it and see. Only to find out that there was somebody, should I say, he has taken himself as a royal and it's in someone's palanquin. And that was how smart it is. So when he got access inside, he tried to open all the doors. So once the man got there and shouted, he ran for the other door, thinking that he was safe. Now he heading towards the main junction. And the funny thing is that he actually tried to stop a taxi. Oh, big up for the taxi drivers in GH. You know, he tried to stop a taxi and the taxi driver didn't stop. He just went ahead, and then the 207 slowed down for the police to cross well. And big ups. I would like to also say that if all policemen could say, let's go the extra mile, let's there, like
I believe they do that. I believe they do that.
I think we're going to be a better
I believe
place.
they do that. So, and again, the car was a Toyota Corolla vehicle, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do we know the identity of this man? We are told now he's in the grips of the police anyway. Do we know his identity? Do we know his background, for instance? What he does for a living aside stealing?
Yes, it was that early, so the police were like reluctant a little bit. They started investigations as usual. I'm sure we'll follow up on it, and then what comes to give to our viewers.
That's fine. Let's now turn our attention to education. And the National Association of Graduate Teachers is threatening to embark on a massive strike action if salaries owed its members are not paid by the end of this month. That's February. Addressing a press conference in Accra earlier today, Christian Adaipoku indicated they are tired of waiting without any positive results from government.
We are stating the realities on the ground. Since our minister came into office, teachers were so happy to see our own, that is somebody who has been a teacher herself and actually has trained teachers. We're expecting her to be able to appreciate our problems better and to help solve them. But since she came, she has not been able to initiate even a single policy that is geared towards motivating teachers, enhancing teachers' welfare and making sure that teachers have peace of mind to be able to do their work. All her concentration has been on supervision. Yes, supervision is important, but that is not all that is needed to be able to provide results. And so we are saying that the threats are not the best way to deal with adults. We are all adults. There is a better way to deal with us than to always go on air and say that I will sack you, I will demote you, and so on. When you know that there are more problems causing downfall of education or falling standard of education than just poor supervision. We have cited controller as part of the problem because when directives are given to controller to execute certain functions, controller reneges on the responsibility to do so. For example, Auditor General certified over 4,000 names for payment. We started getting calls from some of our members that some people at controller were calling them to pay some money to get their arrears paid to them. So at our meeting with the Minister of Employment, the matter was brought up for discussion. Though we didn't get any concrete evidence to substantiate the allegation, it was agreed at the meeting that to be able to alleviate everybody's suspicion, provide us with the list that Auditor General gave you, and then also provide us with the list that you have paid, that is controller. Then if the two will balance themselves, then it means there's no problem. But if there are discrepancies, then controller will have some questions to answer as to why the names that have been certified are not being paid their arrears. And they were given 7 days to do so. It is 4 months now, and controller has not been able to do it. And that is why we think that there is a problem there that needs investigation. If some people at controller have nothing to hide, why are they refusing to give us the list that they have so agreed at stakeholders meeting that they will provide? In October at our meeting, it was agreed that controller should provide it, and they accepted it. Apart from that, when they failed to do it, in December, NAGRAT wrote a letter to controller and copied the Minister of Employment that what we agreed that you should provide us with the list, you have not done it. So give us the list. The Minister of Employment wrote a letter and attached the NAGRAT copy and stated that give the teacher unions the list and then copy me, the minister. But it was never done.
Well, joining us, Efwa Evans Chinri was at that particular media briefing and has now joined us in studio with a lot more on what transpired this morning. So, Efwa, we've heard them raise these issues. Sure. In fact, all the teacher unions have raised similar concerns. Yeah. Yesterday, we heard of a similar one by the Coalition of Concerned Teachers. You were one for that one as well. So, what more are these graduate teachers also saying?
Yes, they are saying that, hey, we're tired of waiting on government to hear us out. You know, just give us our monies. And I hear over 30,000 teachers have been affected by this. So they are saying that by the end of this month, if they are not paid their monies, they are going to hit the streets. They are going to embark on a massive demonstration. So that's basically what they are saying. They said they are not going to accept any roadmaps. They are tired of setting up committees to look into issues. So you heard Christian Adaipoku over there, yes.
Indeed.
So that's what they're saying. So NAT met on Monday, the concerned teachers met yesterday, and today it was NAGRAT's turn. So basically they're saying that, hey, teachers are tired. Okay. You know, you can't live without your salary for a month. And can you imagine us? We've not been paid for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I hear some people have even killed themselves because of this. So that's the situation at hand.
That's quite dark. But earlier we were also picking up information that they might also be touching on this particular issue of a research fund and the book and research allowance. Did it by any chance come up?
No, that didn't come up. They're only saying that, hey, this committees, they set up to look into issues and nothing comes out of it. You know, we're tired of all that. So whatever government has to do for us to receive the monies, I mean, that's what we're looking at now.
Okay. Yeah. For many thanks for that update, and that was my colleague, F.Y. Vance Chenry, who went for that particular media briefing by the graduate teachers. You're watching this today here on the Joy News channel on More TV. We're taking a break. We'll return shortly with some more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. To some more stories now. A lawyer for embattled High Court Judge Justice Paul Utaderi has sued Accra-based Star FM, the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council, and 2 individuals for defamation. Nikpapo Samwado wants the High Court to fine each of the defendants 500,000 Ghana cedis for actions calculated to damage his reputation in the eyes of right-thinking members of society. Now, the 2 individuals are Secretary of the Committee, Bernard Bentel, who happens to be the first defendant, and Committee Chairperson, Justice Sophia Kufu, who is the second defendant in the writ. Now, according to the suit filed at the High Court in Accra, Mr. Bentel, acting under the instructions of Justice Sophia Kufu and on behalf of the Disciplinary Committee, caused to be posted at the court premises a purported notice of an invitation to Mr. Ado and 8 others to appear before the committee on February 25 this year for a preliminary hearing on respective complaints of professional misconduct lodged against them. Now, the suit says Star FM subsequently republished the contents of the notice on February 17, 2016 on its website, starfmonline.com, with the headline, "There is lawyer, 8 others hauled before DC for misconduct." Nikpapo Samwado's suit says that, quote, "At all material times, the first, second, and third defendants knew or ought to have known that the notice was likely to be read and republished by other persons, as has been done by the 4th defendant," end quote. Adding, the notice conveyed the meaning that the plaintiff is an incompetent and an unethical lawyer who is engaged in professional misconduct. Now, some relatives of the murdered MP for Boko North are threatening to demonstrate at the police headquarters today. The family is in Accra to hold a 1-week memorial celebration of the death of J.B. Dankwa, but plan on the protest to register their displeasure at the discrepancies in the reports given them by the police after interrogating the prime suspect in the murder. Now, while the initial report suggested that the suspect was contracted to kill the late MP, he has subsequently told the court that he killed J.B. Dankwa during a robbery operation. Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to Joy News reporter Raymond Nakwa, who is at the 1-week celebration of the late Joseph Boache Dankwa. Raymond, so what's the situation at the grounds now?
Okay, so actually, predominantly still reflective and a mood of the people being really sad people who are just here to commemorate with this family. This particular family is said to have been the family suffering at the height of this particular event. Now, what we know for a fact is that this is also interspersed with chants and wailing, all in remembrance of the late MP, who many here believe is a young, vibrant life that has been snatched away by heinous crime. Now, also present here is the leadership of the NPP. Nana Akufo-Addo himself is here. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is also here. Freddie Blay, who is the national chairman of the NPP, is here together with former ministers under the S.Y. Kufuor administration, MPs Alan Tremantin. The vice president of the Republic of Ghana was here, but left a while ago, and instead the Eastern Regional Minister is actually on the ground here. What we also know for a fact is that there are diplomats, there are industry giants, there are members from the Rotary Club, the Atmoto Golf Club, and other prestigious groupings who are all on the ground here. And as with Akan culture, so that people come in, they shake hands, except with the widow, every other person gets to get a handshake. Then they move on to go and take their seat.
Okay, so Raymond, let me ask at this point, really, because we were told earlier that the family of the late J.B. Dankwa were threatening to embark on a demonstration today based on certain things they claim are discrepancies in the reportage that the police has been given to them. Do you see any sign of such a thing happening?
No, except for some members of its constituency who gather in corners to chant and say that they are invoking deities to punish the person who did this heinous crime and any other person who engaged in a cover-up of the event, except for those which mostly outside the main guarded area. In fact, the place is heavily guarded by the police and some military men too, even as the vice president has left the area. So beyond those small groupings that say these things, nothing else is happening in the direction. It's been solemn, it's been people doing their commemoration of very wonderful person. They believe they...
Okay, we appear to have lost our colleague Raymond Dakwa, who's live on that particular grounds where they are holding that 1 week memorial for the late Joseph Boakye Dankwa, Member of Parliament for Ebuakwa North there. Let's bring you some other stories now. And Chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Board and Member of Parliament for Boku West, Cletus Avoka, has called on immigration service personnel at the Ghana-Burkina Faso border at Paga in the Upper East region to ensure that no political party brings in people from outside the country to register as voters when the Electoral Commission begins the limited voters registration exercise later this year. Mr. Avoka warns that government will not tolerate any immigration officials who will condone such activities. He was addressing officials of the Ghana Immigration Service at Paga in the Upper East region.
The Ghana Immigration Service Board visit to the Upper East region is part of the board's effort to get first-hand information on happenings at Ghana's various entry points, including the unapproved routes. The visit also enabled the Immigration Service Board to interact with immigration service personnel at the Ghana-Burkina Faso border at Paga and also listen to their concerns. Addressing a gathering of immigration service personnel, Chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Board and MP for Boku West, Cletus Avoka, charged the personnel to ensure that no political party transports foreigners into the country to register as voters when the Electoral Commission begins the limited voters registration exercise later this year.
Do not compromise yourselves. We know that as Ghanaians we are entitled to vote, but we will not take only to anybody who want to identify himself with any group of people or persons, etc. That is not your role. Your function do not do that. Your function is to protect Ghana.
Director of the Ghana Immigration Service, Felix Yausapon, said steps are being taken to equip immigration officials when the Ghana Immigration Service Bill 2015 is finally assented to by the President.
We are now supposed to be willing arms. So we are now trying to get about 4,000 rifles and about 3,000 pistols. But before then, there's going to be a package of retraining of officers who went to border patrol and training of others that know.
Assistant Controller of Immigration for the Paga Sector Command, ACOI Francis Techi, said even though he and his men are doing their best to ensure that Ghana is secure, they face many challenges which make their work very difficult.
The extreme weather conditions within the region make night patrols very difficult without protective clothing and tents. These extreme weather conditions also cause for the need for frequent replacement of our service uniforms, which has not been forthcoming.
The board will also visit other border posts in the region, including the Ghana-Burkina Faso and Ghana-Togo borders at Kulungungu and Pusiga respectively as part of the tour.
Time for some business here on News Today after these messages. And in business, all is set for the first ever SADA trade fair in Tamale next weekend. The fair is expected to create agribusiness investment opportunities in the northern Savannah zone for over 600 exhibitors. Marketing manager of trade fair, Asamoah Bafo tells Joy Business about 8,000 participants are expected at the fair.
A major constraint to the promotion of commercial agriculture in Ghana is limited access to finance. Financial institutions are reluctant to provide financing to the agricultural sector as a result of the over-reliance on the vagaries of the weather, which have on several occasions been unreliable. Statistics indicate that many people living in rural agricultural communities in the northern region part of the country are vulnerable to becoming food insecure. Deputy Chief of Party and Manager of Agribusiness Opportunity Unit of USAID FINGAP, Dr. Victor Entry, tells Joy Business the upcoming SADA trade fair will, among other things, identify, develop and support agribusiness and farmer proposals for agricultural supply chain investments.
It's good to have trade fair in northern Ghana because for all these years we've been having trade fair organized in Accra. So there's a need for us to move investors up country so that we can bridge the gap between the north and the south. And we believe that it's an opportunity for the north to be developed. And USAID is financing Ghana Agriculture Project, which is a 5-year project under the Feed the Future project, is to facilitate investment in northern Ghana. And we do that by working through financial institutions and also working through business advice service providers. The other finger seeks to facilitate investment in commercial agriculture in Ghana. And by so doing, we supporting all those actors along the value chain, especially farmers, processors, aggregators, and also at the market end of the whole program. And by so doing, it would support smallholder farmers to increase production and also create opportunity for input dealers to also bring on board what they have to do that. We are talking about mechanization. Now, most of the farmers have access to 1 or 2 tractors, but it's not enough because come the main season, you have to wait for your turn before you can have access to that. So we are facilitating investment in access to farm mechanization systems.
Marketing manager of trade fair, Asamoah Bafo Oscar, meanwhile says all is set for the fair.
We are extremely prepared now. This being the first time that trade fair is moving out of Accra, extensive preparation went on a year ago with series of meetings together with SADA who have ever done the subject before. So that literature is what we are riding on. In respect to our foreign exhibitors, they came on board long before the local exhibitors came. And so in this respect, we are expecting about 8,000 people to pass through and about close to 500 to 600 exhibitors, because the Tamale participants are, as I speak now, every now and then they are registering, and we expect the ECOWAS sub-region to be represented massively.
As part of the programs lined up, there will be a round-table discussion on access to finance and challenges, as well as risk mitigation tools.
Now, there are calls for more private business operators to participate in the running of state-owned institutions towards the country's economic development. Now, this, according to advocates, has become necessary because government has failed to effectively manage most of the institutions to the benefit of the economy.
The call was made at the launch of the book dubbed Dare to Dream at the Springboard Roadshow. The General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Dr. Mensa Otabil, highlighted the need to reduce government's participation in the management of state-owned institutions.
I'm looking for the day when government employs only about 5% of doctors in Ghana. I'm looking for the day when the government employs just about 5% of nurses, and when government does not run all the schools and run them aground as they've been doing. I'm looking for the day when schools will be run by institutions, by cooperatives, by local areas, by churches, and by other agencies, which can run them well and run them with vision. I'm looking for the time when government does not become such a huge player in procurement, where almost everything we buy is bought for the government, and that's what feeds all the corruption we find in our country. When private people are buying, they are very careful. I don't think MTN is going to allow people to inflate what they want to buy by 4 times, because private people know the value of money. Unfortunately, government has no appreciation for the money that comes to them because they didn't generate it. We give it to them, and they have no respect for it.
Other participants of the book launch at the Springboard Roadshow, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, Executive Director of Data Bank and private legal practitioner Yoniku Lendi, also added their voice to the call.
Government can provide the environment, but for Ghana to really make progress in terms of economic development, I believe strongly that it will take us in the private sector to stand up.
Human experience has shown that the state is not the best manager of enterprise. The state is not the best manager of business. There's greater inefficiency, there's greater incompetence, there's greater corruption, there's greater waste in state enterprises compared with private enterprises. So if we can have more of our activity, more of our economy, more of the space dominated, managed, owned and controlled by private individuals, by corporates and natural persons, the better for us.
The book launch was also used to mark the 10th anniversary of the Springboard Roadshow, which is now expected to go beyond the shores of Ghana to other parts of Africa.
And that'll be all for Business Here on News today. Benedict also standing by with the very latest in sports. So that'll be it for News Today this afternoon here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenche Hineboating. There's more news when you visit www.myjoyonline.com. The Marketplace is up next. Many thanks for your company.